Tagore is very unusual in the sense that he was one of the earliest critics of nationalism. Okay. At that time, anti-colonialism was equated with nationalism, and both are being glorified as a part of creating a better society. But Tagore, though he was against colonial exploitation, he was not completely convinced that nationalism was the right kind of thing for India. Partly because around that time, nationalism was responsible for, as Tagore saw, World War I. And of course, later, rise of Japan and World War II. But then those developments were known to everybody and not just to Tagore. Tagore saw those developments as advent of one kind of a new evil which India should guard against. And he also felt that many wrong things would be justified in the name of nationalism. Okay. Because that was his experience during Swadeshi movement. In one novel, Tagore makes this very important observation. In this novel, Ghare Bhai, 1915, one character, Nikhilesh, allows the sale of foreign cloth in his market when there are some willing to buy, though he himself doesn't wear them, saying that I will not oppress anybody who wants to buy the cloth. And when his wife, influenced by another character in the novel, says, the oppression is not for yourself, it is for the country, Nikhilesh replies, oppressing for the country is oppressing the country. You will not understand this. So if you are oppressing somebody for the sake of the country, you end up oppressing the country. Very prophetic observation. Many human rights violations are committed because they think that they are oppressing certain people for the country. But Tagore says that is oppressing the country. So Tagore made this observation and convinced by growing threat of nationalism by 1950. Okay. And then he was uncomfortable about non-cooperation movement. though he had a very high opinion of Gandhi. Why was he uncomfortable about it? Because he felt that non-cooperation was promoting anger and hatred against the other. Okay. So, in the name of India, you are promoting hatred against the others. Tagore thought, this is bad. Tagore wanted Indian experience a sense of unity with mankind. Not that there should not be a border, not that there should not be a country or an elected government, but it is that he felt that the sense of unity across the countries, unity with mankind, is a more important thing that Indians should have. And Gandhi's movement is promoting this sentiment against the British, which would be sentiment against foreigners. So Tagore could not feel one with the movement. So I think his ideas were partly influenced by his experience in Swadeshi movement. How in the name of Swadeshi movement, some people were forced to do things which they did not like. So Tagore was against force and against hatred. And more importantly, he felt that promotion of human unity is the right education for an Indian. Okay. That is why he could not feel ease with the non-cooperation movement. Let us look at the discussions. Tagore was in Europe, and in September 1920 he was writing to Andrews. Okay. I find our countrymen are furiously excited about non-cooperation. I shall be willing to sit at his feet and do his biddings if he commands me, talking about Gandhi, to cooperate with my countrymen in the service of love. If non-cooperation is contributing to love, then I will sit at his feet. I refuse to waste my manhood in lighting the fire of anger and spreading it from house to house. So non-cooperation movement was not going to spread love, but anger. Okay. And then on March 2nd, 1921, he wrote, because at that time he was touring Europe to build an international center of learning, Vishwa Bharati in Santiniketan. He said, what irony of fate is this, that I should be preaching cooperation of cultures between East and West on this side of the sea, just the moment when the doctrine of non-cooperation is preached on the other side. He says, I am striving with all my power to tune my mood of mind to be in accord with the great feeling of excitement sweeping across my country. I'm not able to do it. Okay. And he thought education was to promote an international outlook, unity of mankind. He wrote this in 1917. It is my conviction that my countrymen will truly gain their India by fighting the education which teaches them that a country is greater than the ideals of humanity. Okay. So, Tagore was very clear about this. And then he had conversations on non-cooperation movement with Gandhi himself. There was a personal meeting with Gandhi on 6th September 1921. And Gandhi wanted to persuade Tagore to take a public stand and fight for Swaraj. But Tagore said, the whole world is suffering today from the cult of a selfish and short-sighted nationalism. Okay. And when Gandhi said his fight was of a different kind, then this is what Tagore said. Look down there, see what your so-called non-violent followers are up to. They have stolen those pieces of cloth from the bazaar. They have now gone and lit a bonfire with them in my courtyard. You can see for yourself. There they are howling around it like a lot of demented dervishes. Is that non-violence, Gandhiji? Do you think you can hold our violent emotions under firm control with your non-violent principles? You know you can't. So he was saying these kinds of movements develop only anger and hatred and not love. Okay. Whereas being together is very important. Okay. So this is what Tagore said. It hurts me deeply when the cry of rejection rings loud against the West with the clamor that the Western education can only injure us. It cannot be true. We should be benefited by the Western education. Then we are beginning to discover that our problem is worldwide. And no one people of the earth can work out its salvation by detaching itself from the others. Either we shall be saved together or drawn together into destruction. So prophetic. How do you fight COVID? How do you fight climate change? How do you fight nuclear proliferation? When he said either we shall be saved together or drawn together to destruction. So Tagore was ahead of his times, far ahead. And then not only that, Tagore wanted it as an ideal, but he felt, in fact, that is the spirit of the new age. Okay. Here Tagore thinks there is a higher consciousness evolving. higher mind taking shape. And this mind is global, not national. Exactly the way Aurobindo described. Okay. How is that higher mind evolve? Any nation which takes an isolated view, any nation which takes an isolated view of its own country will run counter to the spirit of a new age and know no peace. Because he saw in the West a real anxiety and effort of their higher mind to rise superior to business considerations. He saw individuals imbued with the true spirit of the sannyasin renouncing their home world in order to achieve the unity of man by destroying the bondage of nationalism. Men who have within their own soul have realized the Advaita of humanity. Advaita of humanity means self-dissolving into the totality. India could not isolate itself from this new world by being content with telling the beads of negation, harping on others' faults, and proceeding with the erosion of Swaraj on the foundation of quarrelsomeness. So, nationalism to Tagore cannot be a foundation of Swaraj. Erosion of Swaraj. Why? Because if it is going to be built on the foundation of quarrelsomeness, so there is a new spirit evolving and India should take part in that new spirit. So that is to say, nationalism is not only bad, but outdated. India should up to date. Okay. What is Gandhi's defense? Gandhi's argument is our nationalism is not like that. That is Gandhi's argument. He says Indian nationalism is not exclusive, nor aggressive, nor destructive. It is health-giving, religious, and therefore humanitarian. The question is that so? I don't think Indian nationalism turned out to be what Gandhi was describing. Indian nationalism, India's textbooks first promoted anti-British. Okay. Textbooks did not promote a sense of gratitude, sense of thankfulness. They didn't do that. You exploited us and we fought and we got rid of you. That is the thing that the India's textbooks wanted to teach. Tagore would surely think such nationalism was not good. Okay. So it is very unusual that at the time anti-colonial fight was being glorified, Tagore thought nationalism could be harmful.